Hello, my friends, and welcome back. Thank you very much for being with me again today. I don't know what's going on with these guys. They seem very naive. And I'm talking about the Persians, Iran in this case. I thought, and I still think, that the Russians were naive. Now, I don't know what it is. It's because an inferiority complex directed towards the West. I don't know. I don't know exactly. It is the culture. You can't have an inferiority complex or be naive and survive for centuries. You can't. So what's going on here? The Russians were naive with the West. That's why the West screwed them and NATO enlarged and expanded and got closer to Russia, and now Russia reacted as it reacted. And I hope that the Russians realize that the so-called civilized West has a veneer of civilization nowadays. It's full of tricks and lies, and it seems like certain countries in particular, if you look at world history, you can find historical events when these few European countries lied consistently when they went around the world. And they created colonies mostly by, tricking other nations into, dealing with them honestly. And they found these other nations as being naives. And they, call them uncivilized. They call them, how do they call them? Savages. Because they were naive. And they were not sneaky like they were. Now what's going on here? You know that the United States of America wants a regime change in Iran and wants a weak Iran that would follow orders of or for someone in the Middle East. It's not about Iran if it allows American inspectors and if Iran swears God that they will not create nuclear weapons, which they don't. No, it's not about that. That's just a way of those guys, you know who I'm talking about, using the American strength and blood and iron to go and destroy Iran. That's the whole point. Why? Do you remember Iraq? Iraq was destroyed on the same pretext, the same way. Saddam Hussein is building a weapons of mass destruction. That's it. And then it says it has chemical weapons, and they were lies. They were lies. Nevertheless, they destroyed Iraq, and Iraq became a no country, a baboon. They want to do the same thing with what? 82 million people of Iran right now. Even if Iran will allow all the inspectors in the world to inspect the nuclear sites and be there 24/7 on site with cameras, with anything they want, the Americans, mind you, they will not be satisfied because the other guys will not be satisfied. It's not about the Iran's peaceful nuclear program, let alone nuclear weapons. It is about Iran must be weak and must be a vassal state to the guys over there next door, that little country. All right, so what's going on over here? Why did I say that Iran is naive? Please pay attention to this article, and then I have two more articles to show you how in the hell can you think that way. All right, here it is, the first article. It comes from Russia Today, and I saw it earlier on the 8th of April, and I saved it because I knew garbage is about to come. Iran demands US, and I'm quoting, goodwill gesture before possible direct talks. Tehran could reportedly agree to face-to-face meeting if Washington lifts certain sanctions. Don't the leaders of Iran realize that it's not about that? I mean, how delusional can you be to demand a goodwill gesture coming from Americans, mind you, who are owned by these guys over here, who have nothing like that in their repertoire, goodwill gesture. Look what they did to Gaza. And you want to realize these guys are nothing like that. They're not like us. No. So what's going on? They want for possible direct talks. The Americans will say, you know how the negotiations will occur? We tell you what we want and you do it. And if you don't do that, let me show you what Trump just did or said. This is today at 23:42, the time, mind you, 9th of April. Trump threatens Iran with military force. And these guys yesterday dared to say that we want you to lift some sanctions. You think you are into negotiations? Iran, do you think that you are engaging United States in a negotiation process? You don't understand that these guys are ready to attack you? If you don't do everything they want, unconditional surrender? Are you delusional? Can't you learn what happened to Russia? All right, and I'm not done. I'm going to read this article. But before I read that, I'm going to go to another article, right? After this one, right here. This is from 2024. So this was earlier, about 3 hours before this one right here. This is what Iran said. Iran rules out direct nuclear talks with the US. Excellent. After yesterday said that, maybe US, so in one day they got smarter or something? How in the hell you can say that? Maybe they negotiate in a certain way. I don't understand. That's very possible. Maybe I'm too shallow. Right here. Washington is not trusted. Good. Iranian President Masoud Pezeshkian has said, Iran is ready for a dialogue with the US, but any talks must be indirect and backed by guarantees. Again, you don't understand. You have nothing. You have to be ready for war. That's what you need to do. I'm going to read this article. Very important. The same threats. US President claimed that Israel would be the leader. Are you surprised? Stick around, you're still surprised. So the President of the United States of America says that Israel would be the leader of a potential bombing campaign if talks with Tehran collapse. That means these guys will be in charge of us to bomb these guys. And if talks with Tehran collapse, how can talks collapse? If we disagree with one another. If you come with a proposal or to try to impose something on me, and I say, well, I disagree. I can't. No, we can't. I disagree with that. I can't give you my wife for the whole month. I can give you for a week or something. All right. So, all right. And then I said, okay, you didn't want to give me your wife for a month. Then this collapse, and therefore I'm gonna bomb you. Okay. So this is going to be the negotiations. And remember, you can negotiate under threat because there's no negotiation under threat. Because if you give in to a threat to negotiate, whenever you're going to have a demand to negotiate from the other side, you can't say no because they will threaten you. And you have to say yes. And the next demand is not going to be negotiation because again, if you say no, they're going to threaten you and you again have to bow down. So this is not negotiation. This is blackmail, like the neighborhood blackmail. Al Capone was a Gigi guy compared with these guys. All right, here. US President Donald Trump has said he has a specific deadline. He has. What about Iran? Well, as I said, it's not negotiations. It's an ultimatum. He has a deadline in mind for reaching a deal. That's not reaching a deal with Tehran over its nuclear program and confirmed he would absolutely, that's a threat, consider military action if negotiations fail. So that means if Iran do not agree with the Americans' demands, that means absolutely consider to bomb you. So that is, I'm going to take a job, apply for a job, and I go over there for an interview. And if they don't agree to give me the job, the way I want it, with the salary I want, with the benefits I want, with everything I want, with the retirement, with everything, then I would go berserk. I'm going to do what Trump, absolutely, I'm going to go and fuck you up. Is that how it works? Why doesn't it work that way in real life here? Let's say I want to get a job, and if they, let's say, don't call me for an interview, and they don't hire me because they want to get hired, I'm going to go and do what Trump says. Is that acceptable? And if not, why it would be acceptable with the Iranians? Still human beings, aren't they? But acceptable with, in American system, society? Just think about it. The two countries are set to engage in talks in Oman on Saturday, initiated by Trump to address concerns over Iran's nuclear ambitions. They said they don't have any, but hey. The US president claimed the discussions will be direct, while Tehran insisted they will remain indirect. What did they say here? All right. Tehran saying Washington cannot be trusted. Asked whether he expects something definitive to emerge from the meeting, Trump told reporters at the White House on Wednesday that he views the Oman talks as the beginning of a process. That's beautiful. That's beautiful. Okay, so demands need to be expressed from time to time, one after another. It can't be just dropped on Iranians. They can't take it. They're going to be getting a little crisis. While confirming he has a specific deadline in mind. How about the other side? If you're going to negotiate, how about these guys' side? Do they have a deadline in mind? Or you don't care about the deadline? So it sounds to me like an ultimatum, not like a negotiations already. If I have a deadline, I want to be hired by tomorrow at noon. And you say, no, Mr. Kosman, it doesn't work that way. We're going to have a process. We're going to, assess your interview. We're going to look at your credentials. Say what? I told you I have a deadline by tomorrow noon. They're going to say, yes, Mr. Kosman, yes. Can you call the police? Who are the Iranians going to call? The Russians? This is thuggery in plain view. It's not over. Wait. And I'm quoting Trump. Now, Trump speaks like a toddler. I said it. I don't like it at all. He thinks, right here, the buddies, who's going to be in charge? Now, I said Trump pretends to be, unpredictable. That's what he thinks here. I don't think it's unpredictable. Look what he says. It's a start. Good. We have a little time, but we don't have much time. What? We have a little time, but we don't have much time. Little time means not much time. Okay, right there. He tries to confuse you or something. He thinks he's smart. He is smart, but something is wrong somewhere. Because we're not going to let them have a nuclear weapon. It's not about that. Who said that? Trump said. But why do you have? Let me ask you a question like that. Why do you have? Why? Norok. The French beer. Right there. What's going on with you, baby doll? Oh. Ta-da. Okay. Pretty empty. So, why should you have? You know what the answer is? Because I can. That's the only answer. Because I can. Because you should not have. Because you already did it twice. The only one. So if you go by moral authority, you should be stripped of nuclear weapons. I'm not saying my country should be, but if we talk from a moral standpoint, you should not have it whatsoever. You should be the first one who should be stripped of. But how can you strip the United States of nuclear weapons? You can't, because it's not ruled by logic, laws, and so on. It's ruled by this. So when they talk about Iran should not have it, who are you to tell me that? Well, I'm going to show you who I am. How? Bang. Put that in the context of a society in the West, civilized society, and see if you apply that in your society wherever you are, in Germany, in France, in Great Britain, in America, in Switzerland. Apply that if you disagree with what I'm saying. You can't. Why? Right here. So Trump said, when you start talks, you know if they're going along well or not. Oh, really? Now, this is what? And I would say the conclusion would be when I think they're not going along well. So that means they have to get along well, otherwise the conclusion will be, I'm going to fuck you up. So that's just a feeling. Okay. Earlier this week, Trump warned Iran of a great danger and a very bad day if negotiations collapse. That means they don't go the way I want them. Remember what he said over here. All right, and here. Oh, if necessary, absolutely. With Iran, yeah. If it requires military, we're going to have military. Israel will obviously be very much involved in that. They'll be the leader of that. I don't think anybody is surprised to know that United States of America is used by another country. That's treason. Because we are allies, I think, and we have the common values of diversity and inclusion. If you think that what's going on in Gaza is okay, and if that you think that those values the country implements in Gaza are our values and your values, I don't know, we're in bad shape. Then we're going to be a tyranny. Not that we are not. We're going to be a tyranny right there. Not like, oh no, we have our democracy, go and vote using the voting machines, the electronic voting machines, and you got Biden or Trump or Kamala Harris and Trump. If you think that democracy would have these two baboons as selected to be elected, confirmed by us through the voting machines, I don't fucking know what to say. Maybe if you think that way, that's why we are in the shape we are. But you're not thinking that way. I'm telling you why. We are in the minute 17. If you're still here, you either hate the shit out of me and you wait for me to say something baboonish so you're an idiot or who knows what, or you're someone who agrees partly with me. Or you say, okay, this guy has a point, he's kind of baboonish here, maybe he's smart here, good point, bad point. Nevertheless, you, if you're an American, will be used for someone else. And Iran better get ready to get bombarded by the Americans under the Israelis' command. Clear in the open. I like that. You know why? Because I think even the baboons busy eating their chips, drinking their beer, and watching garbage TV and being up to date with their vaccines and wearing a mask while driving alone in the car by themselves, those guys have the same vote as you have. All right? Even though they're like that. What do you think? How is that? The people who trade liberty for comfort deserve neither, or something like that. That's where we are right now. And it's too many of them. Too many of them. And they vote. So that means we're outvoted. So what should we do? Maybe we change the system. I think we change it into something more just, where we're going to talk later about that. Thank you very much for being with me again today. Stay strong, stay smart, look for the truth, and be just.